Another 10 minutes time. May I request participants to mute your audio and video. May I request all the members to mute your audio and video.
अलगा के बॉल सिस्टम
May I request all the members to mute your audio and video. Audios. Luca sir, can you mute all the audios?
Yes, mute for that.
Yes.
Live streaming started for that.
Yes.
Live stream YouTube, live stream also started.
Okay, fine. Dear members, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome to every one of you. We will begin this national web conference very shortly. We request all of you to mute your audio and video. Video also.
On mute.
We request all the participants to mute your audio as well as video. We'll start this national web conference very shortly by 11 o'clock. Remembers, good morning. Hearty welcome for this national web conference. We request all of you to mute your audio as well as video. Dear members, we are going to start our national web conference at 11 a.m. I request all the participants, members from dioceses, organizations, institutes to mute your audio as well as video. Kindly mute your audio as well as video.
You decide how to stop it.
Dear members, good morning. A warm welcome to all of you for this national web conference. We have nearly 300 members who have joined right now. We'll begin this national web conference at 11 a.m. We shall wait for some more participants to join. May I request all the participants to mute your audio as well as video.
I should be mute.
Participants, members,
Yes.
may I request all of you to mute your audio.
उसके बाद मार्केट में नाम भी खराब होता है। अभी जैसे देखो, अभी जो लड़का से इतना काम करवाया वो लड़का भी काम उस प्रेग्नेंट लेडीज ने इस लड़के को कह के गई है तो यह जो थोड़ा ठीक ठाक से कर।
Good morning and a warm welcome for this national conference.
पैसा हो गया है,
I request every one of you to mute your audio
जैसे ही ये कंपनी को बोलते हैं तो लड़का का
participation.
तो ऐसे
We'll begin this national web conference very shortly. I request the participants to mute your audio as well as video. And there are two modes. You want to reply to the organizer, to the host, you can use your chat box. When there is a intervention and dialogue, you can raise your hands. Otherwise, I request all the participants to mute your audio as well as video.
Got disconnected.
And
No, just increasing the volume.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Grace, Most Reverend Thomas D'Souza, the chairperson, CBCA Office for Education and Culture. Most Reverend Bishops and dear participants, all the national as well as regional secretaries, all the principals, and everyone who has joined this web conference this morning. A hearty welcome to all of you. We have begun this web series of Catholic education in COVID era and beyond, challenges and possibilities. And it is organized by the CBCI Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education India Network and technical support by Bosco Soft Technologies. We have entered into the second day of this web series with the second theme, student empowerment. As we had sent you in the introduction, the low learning outcome of millions of Indian children and youth needs a radical reform in the pedagogy and delivery. Many children, nearly 56% as per ASER report 2018, in primary schools do not attain basic skills in literacy and numeracy. New forms of pedagogy with appropriate adoption of technology is an opportunity for change. Catering to diversity of students is a possibility with blended, personalized learning. If COVID-19 is to stay, students must adopt themselves to online style of learning and be provided with the necessary equipment to have non-stop learning. May I request all the participants to mute your audio, please. Thank you very much. Social, technological, biological, and political disruptions around, students need to be accompanied to understand their goals in life and attain true happiness. Many children and youth from marginalized families may drop out of schools and colleges. Thousands may enter into child labor force, become vulnerable, and to early marriage. Focusing much on the skills, new pedagogy, experiential learning, and forms of delivery are needed today. How can we impart these skills from distance? How can virtual learning environment replace traditional classrooms? There are good practices where e-learning extend to co-curricular education, such as dance, music, arts, crafts, yoga, physical fitness, and sports. In order to discuss these themes today, we have two important speakers with us, namely Dr. A. Joe Einstein, consultant professional psychologist and counselor, and Dr. George Karunakal, director and chief coach, Minds Training Academy, Palakote. And we have with us today Reverend Dr. Father Eugene Lobo S.J., the Secretary for Karnataka Regional Commission for Education. May I now invite Father Thaddeus to present to us the summary of the responses collated from the first theme on digital transformation and to lead us to an understanding of how we have arrived at the second theme. Is Father Thaddeus there, please?
Father, you can proceed, Father. You can proceed, Father.
Okay. Father Eugene Lobo. Please unmute your mic and video, Father Eugene Lobo.
Yes, Father.
Hello.
Is here. Father is here, sir. Father.
All right, Father Thaddeus.
He is coming. Yes.
Father Thaddeus can present to us.
Can you hear me? Chance?
Father.
Yes.
No, Charlie, can you hear me?
Yes, Father Eugene Lobo, please wait for a little while. Now I
Okay, sure.
request Father Thaddeus to present to us the summary of the responses received from the first theme. He had sent out questions and a lot of respondents have responded. Father will present a summary of those responses and will also connect and give us a rationale of the second theme. Welcome, Father Thaddeus.
Hello, I'm just sharing the screen, please. Camera.
Stop my video.
Record here.
May I request other participants kindly to mute your audio as well as video for a better streaming. I request other participants kindly mute your audio as well as video for a better streaming. Dear participants, kindly mute your audio as well as video for a better streaming so that you will not have internet interruptions.
KL Sakaraj இருக்கு. Sakaraj KL இருக்கு. அப்போ போஸ்டர் மாத்தி விட்டுருங்க. EBI network gt@boscosoftech.com. Okay. Camera, video. Present பண்ண முடியுமா? Okay. Very good. Okay.
Dear members, kindly mute your audio as well as video for a better streaming.
Good morning to all. I would like to just give the context of this web conference that we are organizing as we get into the second day of the conference on the theme student empowerment. Whole objective for us to discuss and to reflect upon Catholic education, COVID era and beyond is what is the future of schools or schools in the future. When we think about what about the future of our schools, there are many constraints, challenges, difficulties. The fate comes to our mind as we are moving these days. But rather, we have to look into schools in the future. How our schools are going to be in the future. It's a different form, different approach. And that should be the objective, because as John Dewey said, teach today as we taught yesterday, then we rob our children of tomorrow. We need new reforms and processes. So it's our objective to rethink and reform education processes as Catholic education institutions. And so this is not an evolution. It's an evolution and not a revolution. Let's keep in mind the entire journey, the movement is. We are aware that the beginning, it was agriculture society, where the education learning was personalized and it was small scale. Now we are still towards the fringe of the industrial society, where it is non-personalized and large scale. Training of the masses,
See the person
is a thing.
talking.
From here, we were moving towards a digital society beyond COVID.
Okay. Started
Which is
already.
personalized, and we are going for a large scale education. It's a mistake here. So the whole trend is we are supposed to give a personalized and a large scale education. So the 5 themes we started with the digital information. Today we are talking about student empowerment, teacher engagement, governance, and finally it is the change that needs to come in us. The apostolic metanoia, the purification that needs to take place, the changes that we need to experience and live. So this is how the 5 themes are connected. And last week we had some difficulties for the speakers to present, but the point is very clear. From the survey done, 350 had responded. It's a positive, and the experience across the country is varied. It varies from one region to another. The rural experience is very hard, whereas the experience of the urban, they are doing getting into this digital, but still there is a need for many reforms, the right approach. So here it is a gradual evolution. We may talk that we have no technology, we don't have, the barriers are there, but we need to evolve gradually from the infrastructure and processes. So that is, the evolution has to take place wherever we are. Today, at least a mobile phone is with some of them, at most have. How do we do that? The process need change. But we will see a tangible revolution in learning outcomes. Today, with respect to the student empowerment, the skills are lacking. We are struggling, but a tangible revolution change will take place if we are getting into this evolution with a strategic plan. Combating access and availability needs new models and practices. We are fighting with how to have access. How do I connect my students, my teachers, and the availability of resources, devices. All this we need new models, new practices, success stories. And that is what we need to share through these sessions. And of course, there are limitations. It was expressed in the survey, many limitations, parents, negativity, the teachers' incapability, all these need to be eliminated through the reform of processes, and the content is different. Content is available for all. And at the end, I would like to say on this transformation, we'll have to create a synergy to share resources and to revamp our structures and policies. Let me say, sharing resources, digital resources can be shared across all our institutions. Even today's WebEx platform, we just got it for some money for 1 year. It could be shared across the whole province or the whole region like this, we get a resource and we need to share the resources. And that is how this has to be applied across various requirements that we face. So I look at this as we proceed along with today's theme. And for the future, we need to look into the future of education. Future schools depend on the future of education. We may not call it as schools tomorrow. We do not the name, but the education is there to stay. And what is this future? It should be our soul searching, our aim to find out through all these discussions that we have. First of all, it is very well accepted the last decade. We need to move towards individualization, and diversity of students need to be addressed. So as Einstein would put it, everybody is a genius. You cannot judge a fish with its ability to climb. If the fish decides it cannot climb a tree, it will remain stupid forever. So we need to bring in diversity. We have to select what is needed for the students. It is only possible with technology. And promotion of all-round development of the learners. We say that personal accompaniment is not possible with technology. It is possible. We need to find ways. And it is lifelong and comprehensive learning in real life. The students will be in real life. Today they are at home. In real life, in what they are doing, what they are working. Yesterday we had a session with our students, and they said they want a flexi timing. They want the classes to be conducted in the evening. During daytime, they're going for a part-time job. So in the real life, what they are doing needs to be brought into the learning. And increasingly social. It will become social because through the media and all that, resources will be available from different parts of the world. So this is the way in which education is moving on. And this is how the future of education is going to be. With these as the objectives, we need to discuss and move forward. Today we have the theme on student empowerment, where it is said, well, content is available. We need to develop the required skills among our students from the LKG to the university. And these skills, as it is given by the Partnership for 21st Century Learning, life skills, literacy skills, and this will be taken up in today's theme. So let's join, share our ideas, and please do share your thoughts through the survey, which will be given to you by this evening. So we can put all our thoughts together, experience together, and we can come out with wonderful strategies for the church in India. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Father Thaddeus, for this wonderful intervention, especially putting us in the right frame of mind. Now I request Father Eugene Lobo. Father Eugene Lobo, please unmute your mic as well as your video and camera. Dr. Father Eugene Lobo, SJ, is the Secretary of Karnataka Regional Commission for Education. He has been an educationist from 1979 to 2007, serving as professor and principal of St. Joseph's College, Bangalore, and at St. Aloysius College, Bangalore. He was a member of the Syndicate of Bangalore University and member of Academic Council of the university for 5 terms. He has been a guide for PhD students in economics. He also had worked in Vatican Radio Rome from 2007 to 2012. Father Eugene Lobo at present serves as the Karnataka Regional Commission Secretary for Education. May I request Father Eugene Lobo to moderate this session and also to introduce the speakers. Welcome, Father Eugene Lobo.
Yeah. Thank you, Father Maria Charles. Can you hear me? You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good morning to you all, dear Archbishops, Bishop, Father Maria Charles, and all the participants. We are here to listen to our speakers on the problem we are facing during this COVID-19 pandemic and how we can face the task of imparting education. An important moment in our life. time of difficulty, time of challenge. We are seeking new ways, new forms of pedagogy with appropriate technology has to be utilized. We look for a great future for our schools. Here we have the great speakers today. First, we have Dr. A. Joseph Einstein. He is an eminent,
which are very easy to practice and with a few examples and skills that could be applied. Shifting from lecture mode to experiential learning, a very important strategy for the present time. For example, students could be asked to converse with 4 friends and find out the immune building measures they take up in their families during COVID pandemic. So they are able to learn experientially what are the immune building measures, and the skills applied here are communication skills as well as collaborative skills. Customizing the curriculum to engage all types of students to apply their skills adequately. For example, the students can be asked to list down different uses of newspaper, a very funny one, but it leads them to apply skills like critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. Another strategy could be to present open-ended questions or statements to elicit students' old as well as new learning. For example, students could be asked to list down at least 10 ways through which human immune system can be strengthened. The skills applied would be problem solving and explorative thinking. These strategies are not exhaustive. There are many more strategies to impart skills. We need to keep learning from different sources. Some methods and techniques to impart learning skills. Some age-old, very effective methods, and some new methods I am presenting over here. SQ4R, a very age-old, reliable method to impart learning skills. Whatever content you are presenting to your students, help them to go through the content with that mindset of surveying it and questioning the concepts in the content. Enable them to read, reflect, recite, and review. More of this particular techniques are presented in different e-resources, which we can find later. Whole versus part learning, another famous technique. There are some content which need to be learned with the whole methodology. There are some content which need to be built part by part. This is another learning skill which can be easily taught to our students. Brainstorming or idea generation, another important and simple technique to enhance the student's skill of creativity and innovative thinking. Collaborative learning, group study, buddy system, all these things are very handy with the WhatsApp and whatever communication gadgets our students have, through which collaborative learning and group study can be enhanced. Teachers can incorporate role plays and simulation techniques in their lesson plan, which is again a beautiful technique for the students to gain whatever they do through experiential learning. And the recent one with regard to the education through e-learning platform is gamification technique. It is nothing but making the learning content as interesting as a game. We all know that our students are attached to different games in the internet. You all know about PUBG, how students are attached to that. So many students are really glued to it. Even during the late night, they are continuously playing. Why not we make our learning content as enticing as game? That is called gamifying the learning content. It can be made very interesting, as well as your learning content can be graded into difficulty level 1, 2, 3 like that, so that the interest and motivation to learn is kept up. And every learning content which is gamified should be attached with the rewards, so that the student keeps on learning with a deeper interest. These are some methods and techniques to impart learning skills. It is again not exhaustive. Many more new techniques have to be brought in. Steps to implement skills development. Education.
Doctor, can you conclude quickly? Yeah.
Just one more minute, one more slide, Father.
Yeah.
Just one more
Yeah.
slide, Father Eugene.
Okay.
Yeah, educators should get used to all the e-learning gadgets, apps, online and offline resources. We cannot be cozy with the blackboard and chalk talk anymore. Let us get used to the gadgets and apps, using the existing simple ways to build rapport with the students and their parents. This is a very important thing with regard to education. If it is in the classroom setting, surely we have a rapport one-to-one. But through WhatsApp groups, we can build a rapport. There is a fantastic example in a North Chennai school where all the teachers are asked to have WhatsApp groups of their own classroom, their own class students, and with their parents. Each teacher has to wish good morning and give messages to the students as well as the parents through WhatsApp. And through that, the rapport is built. And with that rapport, the learning is made more facilitated and interesting. Another important step is to maintain a skill inventory and periodical assessment to keep track of the skill development in each student. So as we are into digital era, we cannot afford to leave behind any child because of lack of resources. So we need to make sure every student should be kept track of their skill development. And the last one, using the resources developed by government and private educational bodies, do the lesson planning that can be more engaging and rewarding for the students. Some of the resources which I am presenting here, this is very few, handful, but much used in the internet. Still, there are so many resources in the ocean of World Wide Web.
I can't hear anything, please.
Practices. Let's keep learning and sharing. As Father Thaddeus had said, we need to keep on learning. Learning should be lifelong and we need to keep sharing with one another. The last slide, leading students to lifelong learning. Skills that are imparted well during childhood and adolescence prepare the next generation to be honest citizens and good human beings, remembering the motto of Don Bosco, the father and teacher of the youth. So wishing you all and me the happy experience of supporting ourselves and supporting the new generation for lifelong learning. Feel free to contact me through my number or through my email ID. Thanks to one and all, and thanks to all the organizers for your patient listening and learning. Thank you. Thank you, Father. Father Lobo, I have finished my presentation.
Whatever you talk, they can hear. So it's muted already.
Father Lobo, I have finished my presentation. Over to you.
Father Eugene Lobo,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Father.
Okay. So we have come to the end of the first presentation. Received the 4 C's from the speaker: critical thinking, problem solving, creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration. He provided us with the various strategies needed, shift from lecture they have shared with the friends, applied various skills and the open-ended question and answers, and prescribed various methods and technologies, SQ4R and the rest. He gave us the method to implement, to use the gadgets, build support for with all, see that no one is left behind, use resources. All that indicated the total, the program that is given to students for the future and how we can make use of it in the new era. The classroom method may have to go out, and we have the new methods that are coming, And thank you, Doctor, for giving beautiful presentation for us to understand and how we can implement it. Your questions can come, supplied to them, and we can collect it. So instead of wasting our time, we go to our second speaker now. Dr. George Kurunakal is our second speaker. He will continue the topic there. He is a great personality, consultant and trainer in human resources and development training, director and chief of Minds Training Academy, director of Career Heights and Career Dreams College, Pala, Kottayam. He's got 30 years of experience. 30 years of experience in training professionals from different walks of life, like civil servants, heads of institutions and departments, business heads, doctors, teachers, students, politicians, priests, nuns. He has a postgraduate in English and is well versed in his communication and counseling consultant skills. So he is here to speak to us on the same problem that we had already begun with. That is, we have the focus on that is student empowerment, challenges and possibilities, focus on skills and not the content. Over to Dr. George Kurunakal.
Are you audible?
Yes, Mr. George, you are audible. Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Let me do a screen sharing as I begin.
Yeah, I'll call you back.
Is it visible now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not it.
Visible? No? Is the screen sharing being? Not yet.
No.
Yeah. It's taking a few seconds. Do this sharing once again. Is the screen visible?
Not yet.
Not yet.
You're presenting, no? Go to presentation.
Presenting, yeah. I have shared the screen, but it just.
It may be somewhere there, just check us.
Now the presentation is next to the camera button.
Next.
Content.
Raise hand. You raise hand. Wait.
Yeah. Laptop. Shall I show from mine? The last one, what is this?
Able to see.
Now present. Hello, George.
Oh.
Shall I show from mine?
How the sharing is not coming.
No, please. Again try. Try share. Next to share.
No. Yeah.
I will present from mine. You speak now.
Okay. You can do the sharing. Yeah. Okay.
You can do that.
May I present from
Father Pradesh will do the sharing because he has my PPTs with him.
You know.
Yeah, I'm sharing the presentation.
Okay, please. Okay, thank you. So sorry for the inconvenience because I couldn't share. It's on student empowerment skills. Go to the next slide, please. Yeah. The PowerPoint. Okay. So, so with our intervention in the field of education, we have how to drive car from driving a bullock cart. But 21st century requires us to teach them to go because the sea is rough and we need captains who are, and we have the vast expansion of the sky opportunities and we need to train them into pilots. So we need to change. What brought you here will not take you there. See, on the road, driving a car is okay, but when we face the sea and the sky, we need a different set of skills, life skills. Next, please. We need to have a total paradigm shift. Our present paradigm in most educational institutions is textbook, teacher class, classroom board, chalk, exams, pass fail, producing certificate holders. We need a complete perception shift or paradigm shift, and we have to begin with the end in mind. What should happen as the result of a student going through our schools and colleges? Competent leader, self-driven, accountable, responsible, rooted in values, able to interact and work with people across the universe, because 21st century and that's the requirement for the life skills. Please remember FLIPS, F-L-I-P-S. The life skills required for 21st century by our students. Number one, a flexibility and adaptability because things are changing very, very fast. And we know the COVID situation, teachers, students, parents who cannot adapt and who are not flexible, they find it difficult to manage. Number two is the leadership and responsibility. Now the leadership concept has completely changed. Anyone who takes initiative, finds a solution to a problem is a leader today. Leadership is not by title, leadership is by action, and definitely responsibility and accountability. Next. I for initiative and self-direction. See, very often what do students do? They wait for parents or teachers to tell them now what to do. And they do only because parents or teachers direct them to do. But 21st century requires them to take initiative and go into self-direction mode. And P for productivity and accountability. See, now no company entertains an employer just for the sake of spending time there. Everybody's productivity is measured these days. And we should educate them to be productive and also to take accountability for whatever may their actions, may be good or bad. And the last is social and cross-cultural interaction, because young people, they have to think together with, communicate with, and act together with yeah, people from all over the world. Therefore, social and cross-cultural interaction. Next, please. And the main discussion that we are having is the how. Education should become a living learning experience. Skills learning laboratories, mentoring and facilitation, classroom learning with the live examples, experiences, modeling excellence. The previous speaker has given us a lot of inputs regarding this. Okay, so education should move in, shift from the classroom usual learning to this what you are seeing on the screen now. Next, please. Next.
This number can't be reached
Okay.
right now. Later. The number is
Who will build the cat, or how will we build the cat? And I've given here certain suggestions for all of us and the leadership of CBCI to consider. Principals and school management teams to be properly oriented on what, why, who, when, where, and how of the new paradigm. Because only if the leadership and the management team, the upper team, is properly oriented, this paradigm shift in education is going to happen. Otherwise, we'll simply continue with what we have been doing in the past years. So set up a highly motivated and passionate team of facilitators to conduct this training at various places in the country. So what I mean is the school management teams oriented properly. Only then what we plan will take place. Next, please. Second is training team in diocese or district to give orientation to the teachers in each school on how to implement life skills. Because implementing life skills is not just teaching the textbooks. And this needs very special training. So a team of trainers should take up this responsibility in each area, diocese-wise or district-wise. This team can also function as a research and a resource functionary. Because as we proceed, the teachers in the schools will require a lot of resources. And this particular team can become a resource supply team. This team of facilitators should visit the schools occasionally and evaluate the activities and their result, how life skills are being imparted in each school. Next. Next, please. Excellence Summit. This is another suggestion. It can be organized state-wise, diocese-wise, and a national summit can be arranged. Awards and recognitions can be given to institutions and individuals. What I mean here is, as a result of implementing life skills in schools and colleges, we should organize something like a summit where excellence in life skills is awarded. So maybe some institutions that have become models in imparting life skills, those should be awarded, properly recognized. Individuals should be recognized. Teachers and trainers should be recognized. And the fourth is prepare a data bank of students based on their 21st century skills and take initiative to place them in various companies. So as the result of our interaction, definitely students, they develop life skills. And this data bank can become a resource and with which we can contact various companies inside India, multinational companies, and because they're looking for people with life skills. So these are the suggestions. And there's one more which is not in this slide, is career development. What's the whole purpose of our education process is to place these students and they feel self-esteem because they are employed. I'm not speaking of the usual professions like engineering and medicine and research scientists. There are the other jobs, central government jobs and jobs at the state government. And for all these, the students have to undergo competitive examinations. And it's my suggestion, in our schools, we should give them competitive examinations skills in 4 different subjects: quantitative aptitude, mathematics, reasoning, general knowledge, and English. And this has to be implemented from 5th standard onwards. Remember, there are more than 1 lakh vacancies at the center every year. and more than 50 lakh students compete for this lakh vacant. If we can prepare our students from 5th standard onwards, definitely most of the students or many of the students can get into central government jobs or at the various state government jobs. So these are my suggestions. And if you ask me, are these being implemented? Definitely these are implemented at, I don't say in many, but there are institutions, schools where these are already implemented. If there is time, I'll discuss now, or if there is a discussion later, we can discuss those things in detail. Thank you.
You can discuss a little later, probably.
Yeah, later. So thank you. And
thank you so much.
Father Eugene.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. George. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful presentation that you gave. You spoke about the field of education to go beyond the regular to the extraordinary, from the car to the aeroplane. We need the paradigm shift today from the textbook, from the blackboard level to the leadership, the value, accountability, flexibility, and adaptability. You led us to that leadership training that we should bring about in our education, going from the present ordinary to the extraordinary. You showed up this cross-cultural interaction that is needed, and that is what is necessary for us. The flip mode that you gave us one the excellent thing that one can follow and one can observe. But how to do it? Living the skills, then understanding the mentorship, the classroom structure, and who is to do it? The leadership should come from us. The principals, the management, the parents, the people who are motivated, and ultimately we should build up a training team to help the students and to build up a research possibility. Beautiful way you gave us the idea how we can organize at various levels. One thing important for us is the link overall, the entire nation, from with the dioceses, the schools, the institution, the university, and everywhere, and the excellent shift system that will be there to indicate the life orientation to students. We need the student bank so that they are able to move into the employment possibility. So career development is the ultimate thing. Jobs are available. We have to train them well, and that's beautifully presented. And surely the people will have a lot of questions to ask. So now over to the organizers for the question bank and whatever the problem that they have given. And that's a beautiful presentation that they are with. Thank you so much for spending so much amount of time and giving us the beautiful outline.
Thank you very much, Father Eugene. Thank you very much. And there is a question for Dr. Einstein from Joseph Prabhu, that leave no child behind. How are we to ensure that vulnerable children, Father Einstein, Dr. Einstein, you also be on the line, and Dr. George, you also be on the line. Okay, so we will ask questions to both of you, and you can please answer. First to Dr. Einstein, how are we to ensure that vulnerable children from marginalized or rural location can achieve digital education where there is lack of digital possibilities and lack of motivation from such students?
Fine. Lack of digital possibilities has to be faced by the caretakers of those vulnerable population. Maybe in the parish level or in the institution level, we need to provide digital possibilities for them to learn. As Father Thaddeus was telling, a simple thing like most of them have their own cell phones with the WhatsApp kind of apps. So making use of the limited digital access which they have, we can impart the techniques and the skills. What is very much wanting is to face the lack of motivation in the students. That depends on the teacher's capacity to entice them towards learning. Learning has to be made in a very interesting manner in such a way this vulnerable population, slow learners or marginalized people or in the rural area, that has to be, they have to be brought into the learning context through different methods which are applying very aptly to them. For example, in the rural area, some kind of hands-on methods like taking them to the field or getting their experience from their own rural context, they can share with the other members of the other members of the class, so that their experience is made valuable, and this kind of sharing becomes more apt for experiential learning. Am I
I just want
answering
to add,
you?
I would like to add here, it's not
Yeah.
that you are, it is an evolution. Knowing the need, knowing the situation, we have to make a plan. There are applications with whatever is available, we can start. And please remember, the technology is changing day by day. India, what is happening is an evolution, whereas in America, it is a revolution that is taking place. To explain further can be done, we can send you a paper how things are done. Because in this short session, it's not possible to present all the possibilities for every situation. So it is an evolution in the sense, gradually we'll have to scale up. That's my input.
Thank you, Father. Thanks for adding up.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Einstein. Question to George Karnakal. Okay, using virtual learning environment than academics.
I didn't get you. Please, one.
How can life skills be imparted virtual learning environment?
Okay, that's a good question. I also had a lot of doubts. But when the COVID started, I did a lot of experiments. In fact, now every day I'm doing training using online media, Zoom, impacting life skills. So in the beginning, I thought it would be difficult for the trainer and the participants as well. But it's a trial and error method. How can we make the sessions interactive? We can ask them questions. They can respond individually. They can unmute and respond. Them a question and let them think and answer it for a few minutes, for example. Okay, and they can use a chat, and you can give them, if they are students, you can give them something like as we do homework. Okay, so maybe a homework, for example, prepare a small speech, a small talk, and record it and send it to you via WhatsApp. So whatever we do offline can also be offline if the trainer, if the teacher is a bit innovative. That's from my own experience.
Thank you, Mr. George. Thank you very much. There is a question from Dr. Father Joel Dicuna. How to integrate Government of India Education Policy 2020 to 2030 in the context of digitization? How to integrate education policy of India with in the context of digitization? Do you have an answer?
Question is to.
Can you hear Mr. George?
Yes, I can hear. I think Dr. Einstein will be the better person to answer that, technology related.
How to integrate Government of India education policy?
Shall I come in, Einstein?
Yeah,
Yes, Father.
Thaddeus, yes.
Please, because
Yeah.
it's
See,
a
I said it very clearly first that a new policy in itself, if you look deeper, it is towards personalization, adaptability, and selectivity. If you go deeper into that, liberalization of education, that's what it is heading towards. It's allowing things to happen. Of course, at the same time, holistic development. There can be certain aspects which are not acceptable to us. The entire policy, the entire system is for integral development. And definitely in every aspect of it, technology-based activities which allow us to identify the individual characteristics and deliver them according to the need, to the context is possible. As it is said, we need to start somewhere and move forward. So it will go very well with the new education policy. There's no doubt. We need to have examples to show.
Thank you, Thaddeus. I request all the participants to mute your mic so that there is no echo from everyone. Even the speakers also can mute their mic. And while responding alone, you can unmute your mic. It is just a suggestion. Thank you very much. There have been participation in the chat box as to how we can help the rural students having hand-to-mouth existence and no phone with them. So this is an existential question that we have. How can we take the technology to the poor when there is no access to technology? And another person is asking, there is no electricity in our places. So what do we do? What do we do? So this is the question that we have. Maybe Dr. George or Dr. Thaddeus can help us understand, is there a simpler way of taking technology to the rural poor? Do you have any suggestions? Thank you.
My looking at is what will happen if we don't address this problem? Okay, if you don't address the problem that our rural place, no electricity, no technology, what will happen to the poor? Will they come up in life? If we are interested in them, we have to give it little by little. In Andhra Pradesh, in the remote area, what like last time Dr. Samuel Johnson did, they took all the course material and they put it in a TV, so all students can see in the remotest past where nothing was possible. And of course, they kept an inverter. It requires an investment. It needs to allocate money for that part of it. We have to redefine where our money is spent. A certain portion of money has been spent from the institution. If you care for the people, you set up this. Or the example of the Delhi, what do you call, hole in the wall, where the first you put up a TV from which the students learned. Today's generation is I generation. They are more inclined towards. We need to invest from the institution, from the congregation, diocese, something for those rural areas. Otherwise, they will not come into the mainstream. Start somewhere in a small way. A small step will lead to a giant, giant progress.
Excuse me, Father Maria Charles. Just to.
Yes, please go ahead, Einstein.
Yes, Father. See, like in the past 20 years back, there were a system called community TV, where each village panchayat was provided with a TV room, where people used to go for entertainment as well as social learning as such. Likewise, there's a scheme called Bharat Network, which is coming up to make the entire rural India to be digitized by 2024. And the present government is very forcefully doing it. And I'm sure the first effort will be to ensure each rural setting, village panchayat, to have a small room where they have access to digital platform for the students to learn. Even the panchayat schools when we go into some of the rural area in Tamil Nadu, we could see such kind of initiation is already happening. So the future is all towards digital learning in a very forceful manner. Wherever the government is lacking in its action, the CBCI or the Catholic Church could intervene and bring in more active participation of the government schemes into those rural settings. So we cannot afford to just, as Father said, just to leave out those areas. We need to make sure how the government schemes are implemented effectively in the village panchayats and in the rural setting, even in the remotest area. That is my simple approach.
Thank you very much, Dr. Einstein. I think there are also a lot of participants who are answering these questions very well.
Yes.
There is a person, Sebastian Francis, and also John Baburaj, who say that it is good to find sponsors to get support, because it may not be possible for everyone, but the students themselves can help the other students, or the community members can help people to provide a few more phones, especially if a few of the students are living together nearby like this. Another one is suggesting that identify and approach students to procure smartphones to students, loan them to the students. In extreme cases, get an undertaking from them to return it in working condition after answering the exams. Or so these are some of the things. For example, on installment basis, or even the school, can they invest a little money, as Father Tadeu said, in providing a mobile phone to the very poor students or students from the very poor background? These are certain possibilities.
Yes.
But I would like to go to another question that was raised by Dr. Sunny Jacob. How do you help to reduce the widening digital divide in India? Rural belt is simply left out. What solution can be thought of where the main agency, the government, do not show much interest? Yes, this is a question that is asked by many educationists today as to understand the role of the government today. Mr. George, would you like to come in to state?
So I would like to. I'd like to come in. The same thing happened even in our place. When these online classes started, there were a lot of complaints even in Kerala. Students do not have the facility. They don't have money to buy. I myself took initiative, posted a message in the Facebook. And, I got enough sponsors to sponsor mobile phones. And I myself took the initiative and provided mobile phones. So one thing, as already suggested by some teachers, find out sponsors. There are people who are willing to help if money will be spent properly. They need a guarantee. Number two, if there is no electricity supply, of course, in Kerala, there's no problem. Maybe somebody mentioned, low solar battery chargers is not that costly. Maybe we can take initiative, each school can take initiative to set up a few solar battery charging systems so that these students can charge the batteries. Anyway, this gap has to be reduced. This gap, otherwise what will happen? The gap between those who have and those who do not have is going to increase. So it's our responsibility to make sure that the gap is filled. Okay? We have to intervene. Either we have to directly intervene or find out sponsors.
So thank you, Dr. George. We have a question to Dr. Einstein. The questions come from one question from Sister Pushpa Thomas, and there is another question from Anita Cordero. Okay, Pushpa Thomas is asking that the parents, both working parents, they do not give access to students in the internet facility as they fear that they may misuse, especially growing girls. How to help such students? Okay. In connection with that, Anita Cordero is also asking, many parents are still diffident in letting their children to use the laptops or mobile phones, even for learning purposes. How do you think we could bring out such a change in the attitude of the parents who still insist on traditional learning? Can Einstein or Dr. George come in, please?
We
Dr.
make a
George?
comment first. Yeah.
Yes.
So first of all, as teachers, we used to tell the students and parents not to use mobile phones, not to use a laptop. And this has really affected the mentality of the parents. Now things have to change. We have to educate parents, and whenever we have parents meeting, how to make proper use of technology. Also, teachers should every day give training to the students how to make positive use of gadgets and technologies. And this is there is no other way. There is no other way. We have to educate. We have to help them to rethink. And without technology, their children cannot progress, move forward. We have to bring about a paradigm shift in the minds of the parents, and it's not that easy. But we have to do something.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. George. I have a question to Dr. Thaddeus. Thaddeus, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there is a question that when there were classes conducted with interactions along with the students in classrooms, even then many students never understood the lessons properly. Okay, now through these online classes, how will the teachers enable the students to understand? Is there a different mode of teaching, or should we take it up in the next session when we have?
I just want to, it's good that we start the reflection on this. See, basically, it is not knowledge transfer. What we are doing so far had been knowledge transfer. The trend that is coming up, even with the digital technology, with the pedagogy and the processes, what is required is the knowledge construction as a student can. So we need to go in for learning activities and all that. The process needs a change. So that methodology, that skill set, competency has to be given to the teachers. So we are not prepared. Even now, the classes that are taking place, some of our schools are having this online classes. Same methodology is applied. How can a child sit and look at the screen for 1 hour, 45 minutes? Impossible. It cannot be more than 15, 20 minutes. And they need to give, as Dr. George was saying, make a speech, send it. You have a platform, put it there, analyze automatically. So the whole approach is different. It's not the method. So I used to keep telling our teachers, and even last time I said, it is not old wine in new wineskin. It is new wine in new wineskin. The new wine is the methodology, pedagogy, all this need. And here I just want to add one more point also to the last question. So whatever is we are talking, the questions are, there are two levels of strategic planning and process are needed. One is top down. From the top, we come down. The other one is bottom up. Bottom up, we try to reach out to our alumni, find resources. From top also, there's support and training programs are conducted across. This is the way we can take it forward. From whatever is happening now, if you're trying to fit it into the new system, it will be a total fiasco. It's a complete change of thought, change of action, behavior, attitude, everything at every level. We need to get into that and do a lot of study and understand the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Kadev. I think you have started a very beautiful conversation as to knowledge construct. I think we have to take this up when we discuss the theme on teacher engagement in the next week. It is a very relevant and a very important theme, and in which we need to ask, should the teachers continue the way they take classes normally in the class, or should they do it in a very alternative manner by making the content simpler as well as using the technology more appropriately? Okay. Is Dr. Einstein there in the? All right. There are a lot of views as well as questions coming up in the chat box. Yes, sir. Is it easy to organize a parents' meet to educate them to use the technology? Is also another question that we need to ask. Right. we need to understand, because the mindset of the parents also have to change, isn't it? And even among us educators, there are a lot of conflicts about, is online education good? Should online education continue? And there are some who ask, what is the position of the church with regard to online education? Should we get back to the school at the earliest? These are some of the questions that are also coming up again and again. I would like also the participants to answer these questions, because this is an open discussion we have. And as you know, there is no black and white answer, but we are all looking for the right answers, looking for the right attitude. So if you are able to share your views and also your own experience as to what works out best in your own situation, it would be very good. At the end of this session, based on the inputs given by Dr. George as well as Dr. Einstein, we will be sending you a set of questions for which you can also answer once again, like the last time you did. We would like more parents to participate. Sorry, we would like more participants to take part in this survey, so that we can share the results with the whole church and all the educators. Now, to go back to Dr. George, every student participates in the online classes. So what can we do about this? There are also possibilities that many children can skip classes because they don't have to come on audio or on video. You know, how much of learning really takes place? And how do we assume the learning outcomes? How can we make a real assessment? These are also questions. Are the students really empowered, or is it a way of playing some juggling? Yes, Dr. George.
Okay, thank you. And there are some other questions also I think I should try to answer. How do you make sure that the students are active? So what I usually do is, it's not teaching actually. I think Father Thaddeus rightly mentioned it. We have to have a complete change in our attitude and approach. We are not actually teaching. It's a facilitation actually. So see, ask a question and let the students use the chat box for answering. Maybe to everyone, maybe to you personally. So what happens? Give them a question, give them maybe a few seconds to think, and let them write the answer in the notebook and use the chat box to type. So what happens? The question is given, they think, they write in the notebook, and they use the chat box. And when they use the chat box, as a teacher, as a facilitator, you can make your own comments. See? And then another thing, why should you teach them during the offline classes or online classes? Why don't you ask the students to come prepared with questions? Each student comes with a question tomorrow, all right? And the question is typed in the chat box. See, the student comes out with a question and the other students answer the questions. What happens? There's going to be a lot of interaction. And if the facilitator is creative, even online classes can be more active. That's my experience, all right? Then, what was there any other question? I forgot. Father Maria Charles, did you ask me any other question? So you can make it active, okay? Yes. It all depends on you.
Yes, okay, I understand. Because there are a lot of questions coming up on the online mode of education. And the question
Father,
is,
can I just,
yes,
Father,
yes,
can
yes.
I just, okay, I think I see a question there. To make online class more effective, interact with them, less slides. See, that's correct, okay? Don't use too many slides. Maybe use a picture only, all right? Show them a picture. Let the students answer what the picture is about. See? Don't show them everything. See? And let the students think. And how do you make sure the attendance? There's a technique for that, all right? So what do? You, of course, you have to occasionally ask them to use the chat box. That's one technique. And if they can come on the screen, video, see, and you should ask them, come on the video. And when they come on the video, ask them question. Maybe when they come on the video, ask 2 or 3 students, ask them something, have a chat, okay? Then maybe after a few minutes again, ask them to come on the video, ask questions to a few other students. So you did not talk to all the students at the beginning itself. Maybe phase out the time.
Dr. George, there is also a
Yeah.
question from Menuka Matthew. Asking, is there a highlighting provisions of soft skills education in Indian education policy, or have any states taken this as a policy solution? Soft skills.
Yeah, soft skills. In fact, the central government is very particular on soft skills now. You see curriculum now, maybe 1 or 2 months ago, it was mentioned, okay, we are going to have maybe something like the IGNOU syllabus, for example. They're going to have the same pattern for all the universities. That's what I have come to know, okay? It's a highly soft skills oriented, highly participatory. You cannot learn those lessons even at the degree level without having interactions and project works and presentations. So central government is actually for soft skills development. But as I said, it all depends on the quality of the teachers, how we impart. Even central government, I suggest we should make it a policy, because we know without these soft skills, our students will not reach anyway, okay? So let's take it up as a responsibility. And let's teach the government that it is necessary and we can do it in the right way.
Charlie, I want to add something. There are
Sure,
people asking,
Thaddeus. Yes, go
for
ahead.
maths and science, how do you do this? What happens is you have to break it into small concepts and make a short video for 3 minutes, 5 seconds, which I can share with you one video which was done for counting numbers by one of our staff. So we need to make like that, connect with the real life. It's an example of counting numbers with a goat getting inside, how it was done earlier.
Yeah.
So there has to be a creativity which has been brought into our teachers. So the way it is taught today is different. So we need to share such examples. It's very nice that you're asking. So that there are different ways of doing. That's what I mean, sharing the resources, sharing the practices. I can send you today a simple video prepared by a maths teacher for counting. Maybe we'll share with all of you, those who are taking maths. So like that, break it into concepts. Every concept will have a lot of activities.
Yeah.
It's not that you need to put all the content into the child. The basics pick up. So as I said, 3 core, I think, personalization, adaptability, and selectivity. You personalize for the need of the student, adapt to the environment according to situation. If you don't have anything, you can still do with some little technology and select what is required. So it needs a kind of a training. I repeat that it needs to, we need to look at what is happening around, and it's very nice we are asking how to do. It is possible. Then we share our resources. What is happening today? We are all islands, separated. So this forum should bring us together, share, and then we can give this methodology, this process, this new way of institutionalizing to the whole country. That's what I believe. So even the name school can be removed tomorrow. The future schools may not be called schools, maybe something else. We need to look forward to such a change that is coming in.
All right. Is Dr. Einstein there?
Hello?
Dr.
Yes,
Einstein?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. There are a
Yes,
few
sir.
questions for you. Can you answer about the mindset of children that has to be improved? What can we do to improve the mindset of children who have to continue to learn? This is the worry both the parents as well as teachers have, but they do not know. Certain parents are afraid that students or their own children are misusing the internet. That is a problem that they have, and the teachers are worried that the children are not really learning. They are probably they do not understand the concepts well, or they do not participate well. So what type of a mindset should both the teachers as well as parents teach the children to have?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to tell that the parents and teachers should not seek more of problems in the e-learning as such. There are exceptions. Surely there are exceptions where students misuse or abuse the internet platform because it is enticing for them. It is by nature they keep explore different things, but the same mindset of exploring should be diverted into learning matter, which is essential for their life, rather than which is pernicious towards their character, in which teachers as well as the parents should be very much positive in their thinking rather than very defensive. If they are going to be defensive, then the students will or the children will try some or other way to find out what is wrong with these kind of things. Let me go into this side, that side, all those things. One thing is technically we can have a kind of parent control in the technology itself. There are in the technology itself there are ways and means to restrict the unwanted content entering into the site of the students. The other thing is to conscientize the young people what to select and what to avoid. That is the ideal thing according to me as a psychologist. We cannot keep on be restrictive in our approach. We need to be more educative and supportive to help them choose the right thing and avoid the unnecessary thing. Internet has a few dangers and so much of goodness. So we cannot throw away the net learning, net based learning, because there are a few dangers. We need to be cautious, for which a parent should not simply isolate the children. They need to accompany to make them be more selective towards the thing. There are misuses, there are abuses, I accept, but at the same time, if the parents and teachers are more cautious and more of an accompanying mindset, surely they will be able to help the students to come out of such kind of abuses and wrong uses.
So thank you, Dr. Einstein. I think that was quite a good intervention. And of course, there are a lot of questions, and I also see very many questions popping up in the chat boxes. But we do not have the time. We will have to conclude this right on time. I would like to thank all the speakers, especially Dr. Einstein, Dr. George, and also Dr. Thaddeus for intervening, and the moderator, Dr. Eugene Lobo, SJ, who also had moderated this session. And you can see as well in the chat box, there are also many very good suggestions coming up from the participants. Exactly. I think we will gather them, and certainly we request you to respond to the survey that will be sent to you this evening, so that more and more these views can be shared with everyone, with all the participants as well as those who have not participated today. We request you also to tell your people from your own provinces and dioceses to take part in the next week's sessions. It will be a very important session because we are going to talk about teacher engagement, and this is a very, very important session. And we do have very good speakers in order to facilitate this discussion. And I also would like to thank Your Grace, Most Reverend Thomas D'Souza, the chairperson for the CBCI Office for Education and Culture, and the other bishops who had participated, and all the priests and all the national and regional secretaries of education, all the sisters and fathers and brothers, and all the laypersons from different walks of life. Thank you very much. We will meet next week at 11 a.m., 11 to 12:30 a.m. in the same WebEx platform. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone. Yes,
Thank you,
Father,
Charlie.
we can leave. We can leave the meeting today, and we will meet another time. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone. And certainly the PowerPoint sessions will be shared with the participants. We will send it to your email ID. Okay, we will certainly send. Thank you very much. So thanks to everyone who participated. Thanks to everyone who contributed. Thank you very much. We shall meet next week at the same time, 11 o'clock, and we will send the presentation to you by email. The presentation of Dr. Einstein as well as Dr. George. Certainly. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who took effort to be present today and also for sharing your views. Thanks to everyone. Yes, please go ahead. Certainly, we will take all the questions that have been presented in the chat box.
It's over. Over. Yeah, you can go.
Father, your mic is muted. You won't talk.
Please continue to respond to the survey that we will be sending you this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Still is
participating.
speaking. Father, mic is speaking.
Meeting password next day.
సార్ మరి ఈ ఒకటి ఇప్పుడు మన జైల్ కోడ్లో అన్ని ఎక్కించాం కదా సార్ పిల్లల పేర్లు.
Thank you very much. The session for today is over. You can leave the sessions and we will join next Friday at 11 a.m. on the theme teacher engagement. Okay, thank you very much. God bless you all. Bye.
One thing I got is that
At least खुला ना at least ना फिर अलाउ करना था उधर मैं डिनाई की इसलिए वो नहीं आया था वो तो शुरू में ही आ जाता है हमको लगता है अभी भी है जैसे